So it's been announced that Dereck Chisora is going to rematch Joseph Parker in December. The date that they set is for December the 18th. I think it's going to happen in the Manchester Arena. So, yeah, this is a fight that, to be honest with you, I'm not 100% really that excited for. The first fight was a good fight. It was a great fight, but I just don't feel like... the fight was... It's important enough. Or it's a fight where the results were so inconclusive, or the fight was that good, that it warrants a rematch. I just don't see it. I just don't understand why this fight is actually happening. Joseph Parker's almost become, like, the UK has become his second home to fight at. I mean, I think in the last couple of years, he's probably fought in the UK more than he has in his native New Zealand. And the reason is because he's getting paid very good money. I mean, when he fought Anthony Joshua, let's be real, he was an undefeated world champion at that point. And I think he must have gotten at least 3-4 million, maybe 6 million for that fight. He was undefeated world champion fighting Anthony Joshua, who at the time had a lot of hype around him. Although the fight wasn't that exciting, I don't think he embarrassed himself in that fight. Like, to some extent, I don't think he let his hands go and he performed at his absolute best. But at the same time, he did get knocked out or embarrassed in that fight. And it went 12 rounds. And I think he made about 6 million in that fight. I think in his next fight, I don't know if it was his next fight, but it's his next fight in the UK, he fought Dillian Whyte. And I think he must have made 2-3 million in that fight. And then the fight afterwards, the couple of fights after that, I think when he fought Dereck Chisora, he fought several other fighters, and I think he made good paydays. I think in his last fight against Dereck Chisora, he made about $1.5 million for that fight. So he's making good money in the UK, and fair play to him. He's coming to the UK, and he's almost become his second home. But Dereck Chisora, he's been on pay-per-view like several times now. He's obviously been on there for Dillian Whyte, Joseph Parker, Usyk. And he's obviously going to fight Joseph Parker a second time. The concern with Dereck Chisora is if he loses to Joseph Parker again, and there's a very good chance that it could happen, he's at this point, he's got 12 losses on his record. And I think Dereck Chisora is one of them fighters. He's going to have a fan following no matter what, because if you look at his resume, he's always going to bring it regardless of who he fights. He doesn't always perform at his best, but in terms of being game and trying to take them on, he does give a good account of himself. And against certain fighters, he can be very entertaining. Against Usyk, I mean, obviously Usyk clearly won that fight, but I think Dereck Chisora did have his moments. I think you can say that he won 3 of the 12 rounds, or maybe 4 of the 12 rounds if you really want to be generous. Against Parker, obviously he dropped Parker in the first round, and it was an entertaining back and forth fight from there. Against Dillian Whyte, the first fight, a lot of people thought, including myself, thought Chisora won that fight. I thought Chisora won that fight. In the second fight, he was winning up to a point, and then Dillian Whyte knocked him out. So as long as he's competitive, I think people are willing to pay money to watch him fight, because he is entertaining. You don't know exactly what he's going to get. With Joseph Parker's I'm actually predicting that he wins this fight against Chisora. He's done it once before, and I think he's going to do it again. But I think for Joseph Parker, obviously he's going to get a good payday fighting Dereck Chisora on pay-per-view again. Probably going to make 1.5 million, maybe 2 million for this fight. And on top of that, like he's going to get good money to fight a fighter that he's already beaten before. So for him, from that perspective, I mean, he's got nothing to lose. Joseph Parker's only really lost when he's really stepped up. Against Dillian Whyte, against Anthony Joshua, he really stepped up, and obviously he lost. But apart from that, he has dominated his entire career. His biggest win, you can argue, is against Andy Ruiz, because Andy Ruiz has gone on to become the heavyweight champion when he beat Anthony Joshua. So the fact that he's got a win over him shows the level that Joseph Parker's on, that he's a legitimate top 5 heavyweight. So yeah, for taking all of this into account, I don't understand why this fight is happening, because of the 3 reasons that I mentioned before. The fight, I felt like the win was conclusive enough for them to move on. The fight was exciting, but it wasn't that exciting that it warrants a rematch. And on top of that, there was no controversy. And on top of that, like, I don't think the fight was that important for them to warrant a rematch. But the fight's going to happen regardless of what you think, so it is what it is. Chisora's going to make good money. Parker's going to make good money. Whoever's willing to pay to watch this fight is probably going to be entertained, because both fighters always bring it. To be fair though, Dereck Chisora, I think, brings it more than Joseph Parker does. There's many times where Parker he doesn't perform at his highest level. I think in the Anthony Joshua fight, he probably showed remnants of that. He could have performed better, but I think the bright lights probably got to him a bit. Obviously, the ref was pushing him away as well, which didn't let him perform at his best. But I think Dereck Chisora, sometimes he doesn't perform at his best, but I don't think that's to do with him being scared of the bright lights or like the pressure or anything. I think for him, he only gets up for fights where he regards the other guy as better than he is. So he considered Usyk better than him. That's why he got up for that fight. When he fought Caballero, who isn't that heralded as a fighter, he didn't perform as well because Caballero's not seen as anything special. So just from that perspective, I just think Dereck Chisora probably performs at the level of his opponent. With Joseph Parker, every time he steps up, I don't feel like we see the best of him. I feel like he lacks the meanness of a Dereck Chisora in a way. So, but I just think Dereck Chisora, when he performs at the highest level, he gives it his best effort, but he's just not good enough to beat the elite fighters. But with Joseph Parker, I think Joseph Parker, his talent is way more than Dereck Chisora, but for whatever reason, he doesn't always perform at his absolute best, like in terms of his full potential. Because he's more talented than Dereck Chisora is, he hangs in there with them, but he doesn't show his full potential, what he can absolutely do when he's at his absolute best. So just taking all of that into account, I think Joseph Parker's going to beat Dereck Chisora for the second time. But I'm a little bit perplexed why this fight is happening, because of the reasons that I mentioned before, the aforementioned reasons that I mentioned before. So yeah, that's just my initial thoughts on this fight. What's your thoughts? Tell me what you think. Who do you think will win? Who would you put money on winning, and who do you like to actually, where do you see both fighters going after this fight? Tell me below, and like and subscribe to the channel. I've got a lot more content coming your way. Peace out.